Greetings, gentlemen. It is I, Victor von Frankenstein, back again with more content as promised. Welcome. Let's get started. So this is gonna tie into my video from yesterday a little bit, and it will also tie into a little bit of, I guess, some traditional ideas. We all here in the manosphere and in the MGTOW community understand that the trad cucks are just as bad as the feminists. But it's just a point of observation that I've noticed. Now, we understand that throughout the Industrial Revolution and the Technological Revolution, that women have been replaced in the home by electronics, by washing machines, dishwashers, microwaves. Even when it comes to our social interaction, they have now been replaced with smartphones and video gaming systems, etc. This directly ties into the fallout of the nuclear family. Now, back in the day, one man used to be able to take care of a 5-person family. Man, wife, and 3 children. The woman would stay at home so that she could take care of the family needs, while the man provided resource. And the gentleman that I speak to at work sometimes, I hear this subject come up quite a bit about children and about daycares and the struggles that they face just trying to pay those bills and to make sure that their children have somebody to watch over them. And more we see, especially with the millennial generation, that these young adults never seem to quite turn into adults. It seems like they are in a perpetual state of childhood and act like childish, spoiled brats well into their late 20s, 30s. Possibly we will see in the future the rest of their lives. But there's one thing that I have noticed people say directly to me. Now, as a MGTOW and as a monk that has children, everybody's familiar with a little bit of my life story so far. Whenever I've gone out into grocery stores, etc., I've always taken my children with me. And it's always surprising when complete strangers will come up to me and say, "Your children are so well behaved." I'm always very proud to hear that. Very pleased to hear that. And I realized one thing. My ex and I never put our children into daycares. We both made a serious sacrifice of the time that we spent together, which could have, contributed to our split. There was definitely other things. Might get into that at another point in time. But we made a serious sacrifice so that we, the parents, the ones that are supposed to raise our children, took the time and spent that time with our children, raising them properly. And I always hear this argument coming especially from women. You can hear it all over that, well, daycare is good for these children. It's so that they have social interaction with their peers. I have a problem with that. And I have made enough observations where I can link these things to an absolute fallacy. Children at that age, for one, they don't have peers. They're young and impressionable. And at that age, at those young ages, they need the influence of the parents and the guidance of the parents. And we realize that more and more children are being put into daycares and ignored by their parents. They're expected to be raised up in these daycare facilities by other people, and we know that there's only a couple of adults amongst all of these children. So, who's really influencing your children? It's not the daycare providers that are truly influencing your children. It's other children that are influencing your children. And we wonder why it is that these children grow up, quote unquote, and never seem to grow out of childish behaviors and childish ideology and the necessary validation from their peers and not from adults. They would rather get their information from their friends who have all been raised in the same indoctrinated childcare and academic facilities that have created some of the problems I believe we see today, because they're not getting that influence and the proper upbringing from their parents. And this is another point that is directly relatable to feminism. Feminism truly is the cancer of society. It has created more problems within the family structure, amongst the genders, than any other issue we face today. And we can see how women have been replaced, the women that we would consider mothers, and the support, the family support, we can see how they've been replaced by electronics and technology and nannies and daycare facilities and the academic structure. Women have only proven that they are completely unnecessary. And we all understand the statistics where a single mother that tries to raise children will almost inevitably fail at raising responsible and positively contributing adults to this society. Whereas a single man, a father, typically has a higher success rate at raising responsible adults that will contribute positively to society. Now, I understand that most of us, we see this as a trad con position, and I'm not trying to pose this as a call for traditional idealism because I think that that's completely lost. But it's just it's just another point in the case against feminism. It's just another observation that I have made in my life and a realization that I've made about the choices that I've made in my life. It makes me glad to know that when I look at my children, I know their futures. And I know that a lot of that rested upon my shoulders. But we all know that the future is always unforeseen. And they definitely have their own trials and tribulations, especially if we continue on down this path of destruction. Hope this message finds you gentlemen well. I'll talk to you again real soon.